Hello and welcome to K-Music and Design's lesson number 2 for drawing. I'm Krista Heidel and let's see what we are going to need for today's class. First of all, we are going to need some graphite pencils, and none of these are sponsors, but they are great brands in my opinion. So let's take a look. We're going to need some graphite pencils that have B's and some H's. The B's mean black. The higher the number of B, you can see that there, the higher the number in B, the blacker and softer and thicker your pencil is going to be. Let's compare an 8B here compared to a B. There's that nice thickness in the 8B, or the higher number B, and a thinner, harder graphite in the lower number of B. And it doesn't matter how many or how high of a number you have on either side. I specifically have a high 8B and very low 2H. And don't worry about that F, that means a fine point, and if you have it, cool, you can use it if you would like, but we're going to stick to the H's and the B's. You will also need 3 different types of erasers: a white eraser or basic school eraser, a gum eraser, gum there, and a kneaded erasers. Kneaded erasers come in this little plastic wrap, but they eventually become pretty much a ball of stickiness, so make sure you have something to place your kneaded eraser in so it does not stick to a whole bunch of other things. And you will also need some blending stumps, either professionally bought, a large, medium, small, or approximately at 0.8, 0.4, 0.1, any point will work. See if you can find a large and medium and a small. But if you're unable to at this moment get any blending stumps, you are more than welcome to create your own, just like we did in lesson number 1. And the more paper rolled up, so the longer that piece is, the thicker the blending stump will be. And even more, you can also use soft paper to get that nice fine blend. And we will also be needing some leaves and some pressed leaves as well. To create a pressed leaf, find some parchment paper, put the leaves between the 2 parchment paper, place it down, and set a whole bunch of books on top of it. Make sure it's nice and firm and squishing that leaf down. And leave it for maybe 48 hours, 72 hours, that's about 2 to 3 days or so, making sure that the moisture is out of the leaf. Nice and dry, nice and thin, flat leaf. If you want, you can grab some leaves off the ground. This one is already dried, so it will break if it is moved at all. We're looking for that nice flat feeling of our leaves. So let's do a quick review of last lesson. Lesson number 1. We took a look at all of our pencils, and some of our pencils may need to be sharpened. We used lots of that 8B last time, and we're going to be using lots of our highest B, our highest black pencils. I'm going to quickly sharpen this one up. Oh, that's definitely sharp. Good. And any other pencils that you may need to sharpen, go right ahead, pause the video, sharpen up those pencils, get them ready to draw today. What we're going to do with our leaves, try and pick your smallest leaf for this specific activity, and lift up your sketchbook that you will also need if you do not have a sketchbook already, or a piece of paper to draw on. Let's lift it up. Place our leaf somewhere around here, and the leaf can be sticking out a little stem. Not sure if you can see that in the above camera. We are going to create 4 or so leaves. You can do more, you can do less. The main thing is we're trying out with that highest B, our highest black to start off with, and we're going to go a little bit lower and lower in our blacks. You're more than welcome to try out your H's, your hard graphites, if you would like. Let's find where the edge of our leaf is. We're going to push down and hold our leaf in some spot, pushing it down relatively hard. Here's the top of my leaf. And this back and forth motion. And I'm laying my pencil down on its side so that I can cover more surface area as we go over top of that leaf. And we'll start to see the leaf come through the paper. Trying our best to keep that same pressure, not necessarily necessary. Stop it there. We can see that leaf, which is awesome. All those little viney veins of the leaf. And we're going to scooch it on out and move it over a little bit. And the goal is to have some extra graphite away from the leaf. So about there. I'm going to jump down a little bit to a 6B. There's the top of my leaf. There it is. And I would suggest either taking your paper away, ripping it out, or cutting to stay away from this curve here, this coily curve, or drawing a line to show this is where I do not want to cross because I might be hitting it, just like that. Now I'm pressing hard enough to see that outline of the leaf, but not hard enough to actually break the leaf. Going lots and lots on the outside here. And again, I'm going to move it over. It looks like I only left enough room for 3 leaves, and that's alright. We have 3 erasers to try. I'm going to jump down all the way to my 3B. Quick. Sharpen, find the tip top of the leaf, hold it down with my other hand, and we're going. Try and keep our lines nice and close together. We don't want to have anything like this, or else we can lose that leaf. Keeping our lines nice and close together so you can see that leaf. There we go. And then placing our leaf off to the side just for now. Then taking our erasers one at a time, and if you want to label your B pencils, the pencils that you use to come back for reference when you are creating other pictures. This one, let's put it somewhere over here, is a 6B, and this one was my 3B. I'm going to be using the white eraser. This one here, I'm going to be using the gum eraser. And this one over here, I'm going to be using the kneaded eraser. Great. So we are only going to be erasing what is away from that leaf. We want to keep that beautiful design. Let's erase a little bit here. We're smudging the outside. If you completely erase all of that graphite off the way, that's alright. And if you accidentally go over top of the leaf, that's okay too. This is practicing what we've learned last top parts with the eraser. We're going to leave the bottom parts for the smudging and blending stumps. Or if you would prefer doing all eraser here, getting some more leaves drawn out here, and then using the blending stumps on these leaves, you're more than welcome to. Let's check out that gum eraser. Only the tops. This one smudges or blends together a lot of this graphite, and it also takes it off. Depends how hard I push. And lastly, the kneaded eraser. You're going to need to knead it today. And see if you can find the lightest gray area. And get that graphite out of the way so that we can blend clearly. Pick up lots of that graphite on the light places of the kneaded eraser. So let's go onto the kneaded eraser spot. And we're erasing / blending in our graphite. So erasers are giving the feeling, especially this one here, of motion. Let's take a look. Also going to be using my big blending stump, large blending stump. Here I'll use my medium blending stump. And if you are left-handed, I'm not 100% sure if this happens to people who write with their right hands. Left-handed people, I have noticed, especially myself, that we get that graphite and whatever we're drawing with on our hands. So careful, if you don't want it to smudge, try your best to lift up your hand away from the paper. That same goes with your right hand. If that happens to people with right hands, I'm not sure. Let me know if in these social medias if this happens to you if you are right. And this one here, let's go with the smallest that you have. And if you only have the small, the one that we created together in our first lesson, your smallest about point number 1 blending stump, you can use that one for all 3 examples. I'm going to go on to my large. This one is really good for backgrounds, blending in and having our subject pop nice and strong in the foreground, which we'll talk about in future videos. We can definitely see a huge difference between what we erased and what we've blended together. And I'm hoping you can see this nice and clear, that we have that those strong leaf veins or outlines of the leaf coming through here. And I'm not sure if you can see it up in that overhead there, but we have those coming through a little bit less noticeable over here compared to our blackest black, or highest number of black. And let's go on to our medium blending stump. Be careful that we're not pushing down here too much and pushing up here. That may snap in half our blending stump. And it's okay if you go over top of your leaf. We are practicing, and art is not perfect. It is about creating with emotion and in your own unique way. Let's check out our last one, our small blending stump. differences between our largest, where I can still kind of see my lines, but they're very blended in. Here, I almost see my lines. And then with the small blending stump and the light color of the light shade of black, so almost gray, we have those strong lines. And here's my DIY blending stump. To know if a blending stump is working well, picking up that graphite as we want it to. Let's see if we can draw. So it draws a little bit, and it's professionally made. Definitely picks up very strong, but this one did pick up, so we did create a nice blending stump. Let's check out. Yes, it definitely did. A darker color there, and larger blending stump. Also with our blending stumps, we can create little tornadoes. That's a fun way to see if they're working. Teeny tiny one there. Number one. Starting with big circular motions to create our little tornadoes. And getting smaller and smaller as we go lower and lower into the base of the tornado. That little part that hopefully does not touch the ground near you. Now let's take a look at what we're going to be creating today. We are going to be creating an owl in a tree. An owl is optional, the bird is optional, but we are going to be creating that leafy feel of a tree with actual leaves. Put that off to the side for now. And the leaves we will be needing, and it's perfectly okay if you only have one leaf ready to go. You can pause the video, come back to it later if you would like to dry and smush out some more leaves. There's a nice big variety of leaves here. And we are for sure going to be using about a medium small size and this teeny tiny little leaf. If you are able to find a teeny tiny little leaf, large leaves will work just as great. Let's put all of our leaves off to the side, and I have flipped my sketchbook around so that the coil is on the bottom and my leaves can be only half a leaf on part of a leaf. If I were to try and get underneath those coils, that'd be very difficult and not look as great as I did in here. I kind of got it stuck through the coils. So we will flip our papers around, our nice sketch papers around. There we go. So with either a hard pencil or our lightest of the Bs, 3B, I like those 3Bs, we are going to sketch out a tree trunk. Only the trunk at the moment. We'll take a look at the lines of the trunk and where that owl or bird or whatever you would like to put in, maybe a little chipmunk inside that tree. I'm going to start about a quarter way down and making a really large C. Except instead of starting the C up here and going back and down around, I've started the C about halfway, a little bit higher than halfway down the C. And we're going to do that on the other side as well, trying our best to stay about the same area. And if our C line is not perfectly curved and straight, has that nice little waviness, that makes it even better, more creative, more natural. I'm gonna make a kind of a thinner tree trunk for this one. And I'm left-handed, so I like to start at the bottom and come up and mistakes are great. Keep them in your drawings. We can always take them out at the end, but they may serve a purpose and help with some creativity. Let's grab that 3B again, or a B or an HB. This is, I guess, my go-to for this lesson. Grab whichever leaf you would like, and let's start our creations. We're going to lift up our paper, making sure it's only the paper. There's our creations from the back, and placing down my leaf somewhere. So here's where the tree trunk is. I made kind of a thin tree trunk, a really fancy one coming out way over there. And there's my stem. This time, instead of going far away from that leaf, we're going to try our best to stay only on top of the leaf. Feeling where that leaf is. Tap to there, nice little practice run with my finger. And pushing kind of hard. These are the leaves in the background, or behind other leaves. You get the full leaf in there, great. If you get only some of the leaf, that's great too. The darker leaves and the darker blacks that we're using will cover up parts of the leaves. And if we want at this moment, we can smudge in and around our leaf so that we have that nice strong shaping of our leaf coming through. We can save that until the bottom layer is all done. I'm gonna keep on going, moving my leaf around to different spots, and you can switch off leaves at any point. The pencil can go left to right, it can go up and down. It is your preference. Switch hands if you really want to try out your other hand. Drawing. So there's my stem. And trying our best to lay our pencil down a bit. It's not up and down like this. We're laying that pencil, getting the side of our graphite. Finger is also another tool to use to smudge. It does get a little bit messy compared to using a blending stump. Go, that has leaf in there. I definitely missed a lot of the leaf, but I did get that cool veiny, viney kind of look. Veiny is veiny. And we're just gonna keep going. Get all those leaves and turn a little bit. And if you feel like you would like some more time, pause the video, get all your leaves down, that first layer, that lightest layer. Blend in around your leaves. Stick some off to show that the tree does go higher without getting cut off right on the line. Hold down where the tip of the leaf is. And if I color on the leaf, that's okay. Get the whole tip in there, great. If you miss a bit or go a little bit too far over, great too. My tree, I would like it to be as full as possible, so I'm going to add in a bunch of lower layer leaves, background leaves, before before I start adding in my darker layers that are closer to my face if I were to be standing in front of a tree. You feel like you are on the edge, like these two feel like to me. I want to try and get that tip as much as I can to show that that is the edge of my tree leaf. And add one more of this style of leaf. Let's get some off the edge. Beneficial to hold down that leaf so it doesn't move on you. And I'm pushing hard enough to show those veins of the leaves. This one could have been a little bit harder, but that's okay. So let's go on to our next darkest black, and I'm gonna go on to the 4B. You can skip ahead to the next leaf, or the next, it doesn't have to be a 4B, but a little bit darker than the graphite pencil that you just used on your background leaves. So before we do this, let's not forget to smudge in the extra. If you want to, you can completely erase. I'm going to do that to some of them. Completely erase. Shake table. Some of my leaf excess. A little bit more shape. This is your preference. As to which eraser and which graphite pencil you want to use. Or blending stump. Here we go. Here's our second leaf, a little bit darker layer. It's going to be coming closer and closer to our face. I'm going to start a little bit half and half. Our goal is to fill in as much of the white space where we believe the leaves of the tree are. And we can also overlap our lighter colors, our lighter shades of black. Careful. So here, if I were to smudge that spot, it would take away from the design of the leaf underneath. That one there I'm going to keep, and I'm not going to put a leaf over top of this little area. I might, but for right now I'm going to pretend that I'm not going to, and I'm going to leave it here so that this leaf in the back can come through. And right now I'm going to erase the excess. A lot of black here, so if I wanted to, I could, that should be right here, take away that graphite. To get a nice white eraser so it does not smudge. But if it smudges, it's no big deal. It adds character to our leaves. Keep on going, adding layers of leaves. And our last layer is going to be our darkest layer. So if you wanted to skip ahead in the video or pause the video until you are ready to go to our final steps. Push a little bit harder to show this one here. A lot of leaves in this section. Beautiful. If I do use an eraser, it does leave a hard edge. And when I don't, we get that nice look to the leaves. Your own preference. Let's see if we can fill up this tree. I'm going to use a bigger leaf for the next one. And we're going to jump ahead to my 6B. Thinking about where is the middle of the tree, where are your leaves leading to? That's where your stem is going to go. Or point towards. Right up against the edge of my leaf, edge of the page. And we're just going to keep going until our tree is nice and full. Making sure that I leave a little bit of space underneath to add my animal creations or other plant life. Option to keep that stem in. A few more of this one here. Whoops. Hold the page and the leaf sometimes. See that this darker leaf, the higher black, is coming through over top of our lighter leaves in that background. Later covering over some of these leaves that I used before. Trying my best now that we're getting into the darker, more front or foreground leaves, closer to our face if we were to stand in front of the tree. Let's finish that sentence. We want to see all the edges. Going on to a 7B. And I'm getting a larger leaf. You can always get smaller leaves. Stay with the exact same leaf for the whole activity here. I really want this corner to be finished. No white in that corner, and same with the other corners here. That means I'm going to place the whole leaf under as best as I can. This one's not perfectly flat, and that's okay. You might hear some cracks in the leaf, coloring right on top of the leaf. And this leaf has very little strong pronounced veins. I'm going to go back and find a leaf that has a little bit stronger veins. These dark purple ones definitely worked very well to see those nice strong veins. I'm going to try this one. I feel a little bit of a bump there. We'll see how it does in this corner using darker shade. Instead of coming back and forth and back, possibly grabbing the edge of the paper, I am going to push this flat edge away. Trying my best to stay as close together with my graphite strokes. Let's keep adding a few more. Right around, a little bit more tilted. Right around there. Strong leaf coming through, getting smaller and smaller as it gets to the tip. And if you have been doing some smudging or erasing between leaves, great. Smudge a little bit there. Blend it into the background leaf. Create its own leaf. Smudge some of these white areas to make them shaded in. As we get more and more closer to the front, let's see if we can tuck some leaves behind other leaves. What I'm going to do is line up my leaf. Like this, trying to get this area. I see some white in here. But I'm going to tuck that leaf, even though my leaf goes all the way to here, I'm going to tuck the leaf behind this leaf here by starting at the edge of this leaf. And then going right over top of this lighter leaf. There we go. Now let's do a little finger smudge in there. Get lots of graphite on those fingers, but I want some more 7B. Right over here. A few more to finish off. this right side of my tree. I'm going to switch my angle. That's right, stay nice and flat to get all those lines coming through. Some more right about here. There you go. Get that nice little spot covered up. And tucked behind this leaf, maybe even this one, maybe even this one too. Nice and tucked behind. Fit about 3 more leaves on this side until it's all nice and covered up, and then we can continue on to the design. Tuck it behind these 2 leaves, but come strong in front of the other 2. Since this is a near leaf, or a leaf close to my face, I want to get all those edges of the leaves coming out strong. Well, I guess we're tucking it behind this one a little bit. Looks nice. And I'm going to erase a bit of the edge to have that strong edge show through. This one too, I know I smudged it earlier. We can always change up our minds. Go, I'm liking how this looks. And I think I have a leaf under here, there we go. Color in all my edges. So I'm pushing this way, and then floating back up so I don't have any stuck pulled edges. Staying nice and flat on my with my graphite pencil. A little bit more tedious to do on those edges. Another trick is it's a little bit harder on a raised surface. You can see that there. I'm putting my finger right on the edge. It can work better with a ruler. The ruler can touch the ground, and it is stopping me. Right on the edge so I don't go over and grab the page. Fill in those tiny areas that don't need a full leaf. And I see my leaf is moving a bunch. Oh, it's completely gone. And what we're going to do to this area is smudge it in. Background section. Little white spots that I don't want to be white, I can smudge in. We do have one darker more black pencil, that makes 8B. I am going to switch that. 8B to finish. Flat. Stem coming through. And send it to the background as well. And I wasn't liking that super light leaf, so I am going to add a darker one. Whoop. Carefully on the edge, I'm pushing down and away. There we go. I think I've covered my whole tree. And there it is. Smudge a little bit. And also create a point where this leaf was not. I went a little bit over. There we go. So here is what the leaves will look like. And if you want to add any teeny tiny leaves, I'll add just a few. If I can find my teeny tiny, there it is. Teeny tiny leaf. So we're going to do some fancy things with as well. And one or two just to show that this tree does have some teeny tiny leaves on it. And we'll put it behind this leaf. That means to draw like this, pushing down on our leaf without pushing down where the leaf is that we don't want to color, with the leaf that we want in front. So I could put another leaf over top of it. Show that that stem is inside the tree, behind some other leaves. Go. Just a little bit. The darker it is, the harder it will be to color over top. That stem is still showing a little bit, but that's all right. And I'm going to put one right there. So I'm going to put this one behind the other leaves, going where the leaf is under the paper without touching the leaves that I want it to go behind. And here, it's so realistic. We have a bug joining us today. There we go, so we have some of our leaves, and we're going to create some of our leaves falling from the tree. And if you want some down on the ground, if you have ground space, you can add some. If you have a coil in the way, I would suggest cutting your page out or leaving it as is and having the leaves elsewhere. I'm going to put a leaf falling over on this side, maybe one a little bit lower. But before I add in the leaves, I'm going to add in where my branch is going to be. So I would like my branch somewhere around here. So I'm going to make a large C shape here and straight across with a little up on the edge. And I'm going to start about here, but away from the leaf. And go a little bit close Be keeping 2-finger distance to start, and then about a 1-finger distance going further back. There we go, and I'm going to make a little circle, an oval, and keep going. Oval, 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 bit. Looking big, looking small. I'm going to go up a little bit to create some depth for my little birdie's nest. Go. Smudge it a little bit. Yes, we get sidetracked, and that is all right. It's all part of the creation process. The front lines, these ones here, are going to be a little bit darker. And maybe some little X's to show the inconsistency of the sticks. Maybe some sticking out on the edge there. And 6B, coloring it in just at the bottom. In the back. What we do is take our eraser and erase exactly what you put down, right in the back. Enough space for a little birdie. One of the lighter pencils, I'm going to use a B4. Just like we did with creating that tree trunk, we're going to start up at the top here and stop about here where our nest crosses over. Big birdie. And it's coming out and around the top, stopping where the beak is going to be. We're going to create a beak. Little lines going up, going away, and then right in the middle, pointing those lines away too. And if you want to add a little eye, add in an eye, and then we're going to see if we can erase this line behind. Bird is in front of the back of the nest. There we go. We also have the option to smudge, give the bird a little bit of color. Some spots or in only one spot, and we will talk about light and light direction and where the shadows are in an upcoming video. Yep, wrong one. Bees, making my lines a little bit darker to show the bird. Oh, my little buddy. This is going to be Billy the maple bug. Line to show that the bird is behind this part of the nest. Lines show the sticks or the hay the birds use to create their nests. Color in this little part here. There we go. And now, let's start on this side. Billy can head on over there, do his thing. I do like keeping the lines going the same way. You could go like this if you would like, but I'm going to stick two together, go in the same directions. I'm going to add 2 here. And we want to go away from the leaf over here, but when we hit the bottom of the leaf, we want our pencil to have lots of lines up here, but none on the lower part of the leaf. Let's try our best to do that, finding our leaf, holding it down, our right hand here. Where's the bottom of my leaf? Staying with my fingers here as a nice little guide. And on the edge of my pencil, ooh, right hand is tricky. Show our leaf. All the edges of our leaf. If we go over, that's okay. Erasers are there to help us out. Edge. My finger is stopping me from going further. We are going to add some lines above the leaf close to the tree. Talk about direction of lines in upcoming videos. This one, a nice up and down or diagonal line would be great. Go. Now, where we go? Here's it. Let's go back to our reference page. Mine's going to be a little bit upside down. Not sure if you can see that over there, but we are going to create some motion. So which blending stump or eraser helped us create this motion? And that would be the kneaded eraser. Move my leaf out of the way, grab my kneaded eraser, knead it a little bit. It was getting cold and hard. We move it around, it gets softer and warmer. And I'm going to move it into a nice little stump so I can blend and erase. I'm going to take the top half of the leaf and we're creating a little bit of motion. Take away some of the graphite. And I want a gray spot or a light spot so I can pick up the most amount of graphite. If you get onto the leaf, that's okay. The leaf can blur a little bit as it falls down. Let's see if my left hand can go. Ooh, the sun is bright. What pencil did I use for this one? The 3B. 3B worked beautifully. So I'm going to do that. Add some more 3B. Get them close together. And blend it. Go. Put some falling motion in there. And I'm going to take away from the bottom. Making sure I'm going on a nice clean part of my eraser. Trying to get the leaf. Ooh, scared me, Billy. The leaf design and edges in there. I'm in your way, I'm sorry. Also smudge this leaf as it's falling. It's creating motion. Oh, not to smudge with the, oh, there we go. Left-handers, sometimes this happens. And it's all over my page. Just be aware. Smudge in a bit. What we can do is smudge with the whole hand if you want to get that motion going. Because there's one falling leaf. And I'm going to get one more going. I'm going to use a 4B this time. See what that one looks like. And you're more than welcome to use any of the pencils level of graphite that you would like. following more of an angle. There we go. Let's get that kneaded eraser. Falling action there. Erase this little part. There we go. And maybe blend it in a little bit. Blur motion. Fall from the tree. Blue. That smudging from my hand. And coming up to create our owl. If you'd like to create an owl, let's make a nice oval. There we go. So that's the oval look that I want. And I could keep the line here, but I'm going to take this section away to add in my owl. What I'm going to do first is dodge the sun that's coming in and create my wings. The wings are going to be at the start, just like the oval that we made. And right beside, we're going to create another oval. And there we go. There's our owl's wings. And if they overlap like this, make sure you know which wing you would like to have at the front and stop before you get to the wing in the front. And come around here to show this one is in the back or hiding behind the other wing. Erase a little demo here. Smudge it a little bit. There we go. So my wings are side by side like this. And if you wanted your wing to be in front, stop the back one from going in front. So this line here, if my hands were wings, this line right here, we would stop it before it touched this hand. And now let's create the head. Down on the right, down on the left, or vice versa. And a little whoop at the top to keep some space for our wings, the ears. And our ears, we're gonna poke up over top. Kind of like little kitty cat ears. And the neck is going to come down and around, like so. And owls have super big eyes, so let's create some huge eyes for this one today. And the beaks have a little rainbow on the top and come down like a pizza at the bottom. And then we'll add those big pupil eyes. Add some eyelashes. You can add some eyelashes. We're going to make a nice little triangle inside of the ears. And a little smile. If you want to add a smile, you can add a smile, or you can keep it out. For our wings, I'm going to create little loops going down. The more space we have, the more little loops and little feathers we are going to create. Keep them as best as you can the same sizes, and once we get to this bottom here, cut off your loop when it hits the edge of the tree. can be rounded like this. They can be more pointy like our beak. Cut mine off at the edge. And they don't have to be all in a line. They can be slanted going down, 2 in a line, 3 in a line, 1 in a line. As we get into the body section, our little floops get smaller. Getting that nice fluffiness coming in. Floops. Nice and close to each other to show super fluffy. And the head of the owl has a little bit of floof to get those feathers in the face. Here comes where our highest black to shade in that darkness of the tree. Trying our best to stay away from touching our owl. Owl is in the foreground. We're going to really see that owl. Shading in all of the back. And we have it shaded. We're going to smudge it in. This shows that we can't see any details from inside the owl's hollow home. Go. Excellent. Next is adding in our lines of the trees. This line's already there, it's ready to go. Let's start off by coming down from our leaves and dodging our owl's home. And we're not looking for any of the lines to fully connect. Making a few here. And following the same lines, we're going to make shorter lines. Add some squiggles all the way around. Touch those leaves, show that the squiggles keep going, show that the lines of our trees keep going. And all the way through. As many as you feel. And I'm going to erase a little bit of this and keep the rest. There we go. There's our squiggles with the tree. And let's do the same thing. Some squiggles around our lines. Touching the tree, showing it's attached. There we go. I like it there. And we're going to take a lighter color, maybe a B, even going into the H's section of the sun is really coming in. And very lightly we're going to color. See if you can stay in the same directions of your lines. Following those lines, if the lines curve, see if you can curve your pencil around those lines. Trying our best to keep that same pressure. Some parts you can have darker than others if you would like. So make this one just by pushing harder on your pencil, a little bit darker. Nothing too fancy, same thing over here. A few darker sections. And come around. There we go. finding which one smudged the best for us, which eraser smudged the best. Oh, I forgot to put, it's supposed to be the kneaded eraser. Lesson 1, kneaded eraser. If you have not already added that one in, I like the gum eraser, how that one looks right now. And very, very lightly, I'm going to erase and smudge certain sections. And then we're going to come in with the the blending stump. Smudging those lines out a little bit, or erasing, blending those lines through. And look at how that one looks. And I'm going to go with my medium to start off with. These darker zones that I created. Darker zones down at the bottom. Let's talk about where the sun's coming from, why we're blending the bottom in dark. And okay, in upcoming lessons, let's finish our sentences before we move on to our next thoughts. There we go. And I would like, there it is, a little bit less black on my blending stump. So I am going to take sandpaper and blend it away. I'm recording nice and early in the morning on an October day for this one here, so I guess the sun's coming through. Record lesson 3 in the afternoon, so the sun won't be popping in to say hello, but Billy might wherever Billy went. There we go, I took off a bit of graphite from the blending stump. We'll see how it goes. We're looking to blend in our light lines, but keeping this nice, strong line showing. Blending in the same direction as my lines. We're pushing pretty hard on this one here. You may be pushing lighter, you may be pushing harder to get those lines to blend in depending on the pencil that you've chosen. There we go. I'm pretty happy about how my trunk is looking. I do see a little bit of a white space over here. So I am going to blindly try and find the leaf. Maybe it's still under here. Oh, look at that. Try to finish what we start before we go on to the next things. And keeping that nice curve, going with the tree of the curve of the tree. Getting my blackest black, my 8 black. And coloring it in. And you can experiment with lighter blacks, you can experiment with H's, those hard graphites. And the higher number the heart is, the H of the pencil, the harder the graphite will be. And let's add in some blending, some motion blur. My kneaded eraser. Go. And maybe taking some of my smudge marks that I created with my smudgy left hand. Or keeping them. Let's go right there. Nope. our sun. There we go. And erasing this edge here. The darker our pencils are, the more effort you need to put in, or the harder you need to go to take away the colors. So I'm liking this. I'm going to grab my pencil, sign my name, follow along the tree. So if you look like it's part of the tree a little bit, and you can always sign at the bottom here, anywhere. And there's today's lesson. Right in time for the sun to show right on top of my face. There we go. Oh, look at that. We have a nice little spotlight. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining me today for lesson number 2 of drawing. And I hope you join me again for lesson number 3. And if you would like to show me what you have created, I would love to see them. Make sure you tag me, K Music and Design, on Facebook and Instagram. See you through the screen. Happy artistic learning. That black on wet. These vines are the